What's up, Buttercup? I'm Pam Barnes, marketing expert,
And I'm Hannah Cox, business strategist,
and this is the Go Getter Gals podcast.
where everyday gals grow together and you'll find resources to help you grow personally and professionally. Hey guys, my name is Hannah Cox, and today I'm talking with Michal Thornton. She is a realtor with EXP Realty in Dothan, Alabama, and I have a lot of questions for you.
Oh,
How are
okay.
you doing today?
I have all of the answers. I'm good. How are you, Hannah?
I'm good. I'm good. So obviously, I'm gonna just the elephant in the room. You are the one and only girl named Michal I've ever met, and I'm sure people ask you about your name all the time. So I want to ask you your name. How did you get this name? Why? What does it mean?
What does it mean? What does any of it mean? First of all, it does not mean that my dad wanted a boy, which is a bizarre question to ask somebody. It's biblical. It's Old Testament though, so a lot of people don't know it, but King David in the Bible, David and Goliath,
Hmm.
his first wife's name was Michal, and she actually saved his life. She was the one that got him out the window and her dad was coming to kill him.
I did not know that.
A lot of people don't. I keep threatening to print out the Bible story and have it laminated and pass it out. Have it at the ready.
A
People,
strong woman.
yeah. My mom read a novel about her when she was 17 and decided if she ever had a girl that was the thing to do because she did not anticipate the time in history when people would wonder if I actually used to be a man, etc. Yeah, that's a fun new feature. Used to be it was just did your dad want a boy or is this actually your credit card or is this identity theft? And now there's a new feature. There's a new twist.
Oh, geez. I haven't even really thought about that. That stinks.
I
But
didn't I didn't think about it either. I made that joke to my bank teller and she didn't laugh. She was like, "I wondered." And I was like, "Scream."
no. Oh my gosh.
True
I
story.
think
Happened.
that's such a knowing the background of the name though, strong, loyal woman, like, that's a powerful name to have. When I think of the name
Sure
Michael, I
enough.
do think of the Bible, but I think of the angel who my brother is named after. So,
That's what everybody thinks of. And everybody's like, "Oh, my dad's name Michael." It is the most popular boy's name in the United States.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but there are famous Michaels. I'm pretty sure I want to say it's the mother from Little House on the Prairie. If you remember that series with Michael Landon.
I
I'm pretty
do.
sure that the mom, the actress that played the mom, was also Michael, spelled like mine. I
I
think
did
so.
not know that. I'll
I
have to
feel
look
like
that
that's
up
true.
now.
And then every now and then throughout my life, I'll run into another one. And if there are any girl Michaels listening, we meet Tuesdays for our support group because
That
we
would
need it.
be so interesting because I wonder other women named Michael if the reason they're named Michael is the same as yours, if it's after, um, the queen. I don't was she a queen or was she just the king's wife? I don't know,
She
but
was a queen, and she's a little bit of a contentious figure in the Bible, which I think is funny because on
oh.
the one hand, yes, she was strong and tough and loyal. She was also the one that shamed him for dancing scantily clad with the slave girls after some victory. Basically, she was like, "This is not behavior becoming of a king," and because David and God were bros, God didn't appreciate her censure, and so she was rendered incapable of having children as a result.
Wow, I am
Yeah.
gonna have to go read this.
That was another one I got actually. I had somebody that knew the reference and he was like, because it was just a flooring client of mine, it was some random guy, and he was like, "Michael, like in the Bible." And I was like, "Yeah, like you're one of a handful of people." He was like, "She was barren. Are you barren?" I was like, "Who says that?"
That is a really inappropriate question.
It's been a ride. It's been a ride.
Man. Okay, you've said something that is a perfect segue, but I am curious, have you ever considered going by, like, your middle name or something?
I tried. I tried to be Michelle when I was a kid and it didn't I couldn't learn to answer to it and I never felt like a Michelle. So it just is what it is.
Isn't Michelle kind of like the feminine version of Michael, though?
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's why that
Michael,
was
Michelle.
well, that's not my middle name.
Oh, okay.
That's just the name I tried to go by.
Gotcha. Okay.
and it doesn't help that I have kind of a deep voice for a girl. There's just all of the planets align. But no, my middle name is Mary, and when I'm in trouble, I'm Michael Mary.
That's
But
such a beautiful name, actually.
I mean, I think so. I don't hate it. It was confusing to me. Kids will look for any reason to make fun of you, and so that was
Yeah.
a low hanging fruit. But fortunately, I'm not a terribly sensitive person, so it was like, okay.
Yeah. It's also not very creative to just, like, say, like, the mocking itself is your actual name. They're not even, like, coming up with anything. They're just like,
Yeah.
"Aha, you have a boy's name. Alright."
Good job. You can't sneak nothing past you, Einstein.
So tell me, you brought it up that one of the people who were super inappropriate about your name was a flooring client, and that's
Mm-hmm.
something I wanted to talk about too, because I know that you have a background of entrepreneurship. Right now you're a real estate agent, but previously you owned a flooring store. So I am curious about like how you got into entrepreneurship, of any kind, to not just a flooring store, and what brought you to this transition to where you are now?
So entrepreneurship was inevitable. Both my parents, they own a business together in South Mississippi that's advertising production. And my mom's been a freelance graphic designer since pretty much she started working. And so yeah, it was inevitable. Whether I wanted to or not, this is where I was going to wind up. And if you have to have the stomach for it. And then you have to be a little bit reckless. And so with the flooring store, I actually was trying very hard to be a normal person with a job. And I was working for this lady who, and my partner at the time was working for her as well, doing some unskilled labor. And so she needed a office manager, bookkeeper, and that was my background. So I started working for her. And I kid you not, 3 weeks in, she looked at me and she said, "Y'all should just buy this place." And I basically was like, "Well, yeah, sure. We give it a shot." I had no construction experience whatsoever. It was very much fail forward and emphasis on the fail and fall on your face and cry and get back up and because you can't not. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting.
That is such a, like, accurate depiction of entrepreneurship.
Ugh. Yeah. All day,
It's
every day.
just fail, fail, get back
Mm-hmm.
up because you can't not. Um, I know that a lot of people glamorize being a business owner and entrepreneurship because there are so many great things about it, but on
Okay.
the other side of that coin is, like, working long hours and sitting yourself in uncomfortableness because you don't know how to do something, you just have to learn, and then doing it poorly and then learning a lesson and
Sometimes a very expensive lesson and painful lesson. And then I actually got my real estate license while I had the flooring store because I was curious about real estate investing, and that felt like a logical way to learn. And because most of what otherwise it's go online into the vast wilderness of information and not have any idea how to gauge what's good information or not. So I got my real estate license, and then it also came in handy for the flooring store because networking, and I had access to the MLS, and I was able to see who had pink carpet because my marketing plan was if I go on the MLS and I see who needs their floors replaced, I can actively market to them directly.
Mhm.
So that was part of it too. But a lot of it was networking. It's a very expensive, real estate is very expensive to be in if you're not doing any deals. And so I did a few first couple of years, listings and helping buyers. And then I went to work for a flooring distributor and I was like B2B sales. I was on the road a lot. I did not enjoy that. And then in October, I decided to do real estate full time. So it's been good. Thank goodness.
Good. Yeah, I know I have a brief history of being a real estate
Yes,
agent,
you do.
and it is very expensive. It's expensive to get
Mm,
started, and depending on the level of support you had, I feel like it's been long enough now. I'm not gonna drop any names, but the broker that I went with was a small broker. Um, I joined that group because the guy who owned it, the broker himself, like like I recognize his name. I had family who was like, oh, I know him. He's a good guy. And I'm like, okay, well, if he's a good guy, I'll do it. But the brokerage was in Abbeville and I lived in Enterprise, and
Yeah.
there was no support for like how to do anything. I had to learn everything from contracts. Like I got some templates from him, but like the contracts, the
Yeah.
DocuSign, advertising myself. I spent so much money on like Zillow ads,
Oh,
and
bless your heart.
I was driving to Samson and like to do deals, and I don't think I sold maybe one house that was more than $100,000. And I made good money. I think I never got a permanent license. I only worked off of that temporary license, which is what, 4 months, I think, before you
Ish.
have to do it. In that 4 months, I made $20,000.
Yeah.
But on houses less than 100,000 each,
That's better than most realtors.
I was working my butt off. I was 24/7, no work-life balance, no boundaries. I also was, I had no children at the time, so I had the
Yeah, that
time.
helps.
But, like, I was burnt out, and I was like, "Well, I can't
Mhm.
keep doing this. I'm not gonna get my permanent license. This is too much."
Yeah, it'll eat you alive in a hurry if you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And one of the things, anybody that knows me at this point knows that my new favorite word is systems. And so my default anymore is if I run into friction of any kind, then my first thought is I need a system for this. Because you're exactly right. You are not, I don't care who you are, and this is not a ding against any proud, strong, independent woman out there. You cannot do it all. Furthermore, why would you want to?
Mhm.
Why is that the badge of honor? No, we're working smarter, not harder. So the systems do that. And I have built, thanks to you, because you taught me about that app that builds apps. I
Yeah.
now have my own app that I can disperse to my clients and also works as my background CRM, sort of CRM light, but and I can do it anywhere because it's portable and I don't have to be near a computer. And all that kind of stuff saves me. And every time I run into friction, I add something to that app. Or I delegate. I have an assistant now and I delegate to her. I'll just shoot her a text because her background's in real estate. So she gets it. I don't have to explain things. I just say, this is your job now. Go. And I just trust her to do it.
That's amazing. An in-person assistant or a virtual assistant?
An actual assistant. She is someone that I met through doing real estate and she needed a job at the same time I needed an assistant and it kind of worked out. So she's lovely. I'll be announcing her actually today. It's on my agenda to announce her today on social media. But yeah, no. And what it doesn't make me sad exactly because if real estate's not your jam, then it's not. But when I hear that, I hear so many agents that are like busy but also dying. I hate that because the distance between I'm making a bunch of money, but I'm dying, and I'm making a bunch of money. How much more can I make? Let's do this. The distance between those things is just having your systems. And it's all kinds of systems. I have systems for client management. Every single time I get a paycheck, I know exactly how it gets dispersed so that I don't hate life in tax season next year. Everything. And the worst advice I ever heard in the flooring store as an entrepreneur, small business owner was you're overthinking it. Don't ever let anybody tell you. Anybody that says that is not your friend or they've never been in business. You're not overthinking it. You're thinking it through because your name is wet signed to everything. And I can promise you, I came from 10 years in the restaurant industry before all this. And so I can promise you that every successful restaurateur knows what one individual plastic fork costs. They manage everything. And I worked in a lot of small restaurants and that was not the case. And everybody had a laid back approach and they went under and they suffered and they lost money and their people were miserable. Because when you take the responsibility of being a business owner, particularly if other people depend on you, that's your job. Your job is to know how every single thing works. And you don't just get to say, well, I don't feel like it. The way that you get to say, I don't feel like it today is you've built bulletproof systems on the front end. And that way they run themselves while you're resting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'll tell
And-
you, when it comes to real estate, I do feel that way too. It does make me kind of sad in the way that if you started real estate, that meant you had some sort of interest in it. And
Mhm.
if the reason why you dropped out of it was just because of like the reason I did, where it was like, if this is what it is, I don't want to do it,
Mhm.
then that's really sad because I could have been really successful. I had the ability, I just didn't have the
Clearly.
support or the systems.
Yeah, it was the support. And especially because when I first started, so I had the flooring store for 6.5 years, and it took that long to figure out. If I'd known at the end what I knew in the beginning, and I managed to sell it, I didn't have to close it, and that was, satisfying. But that store would have taken off because of, and that was the difference, was
Mhm.
just having the systems in place. But you can't spring systems on, especially because in that scenario, I had staff, I had contractors that worked for me. You can't spring systems on guys that have been with you for 6 years under this sort of approach. They don't like it
Yeah.
and they fight you. And so, and additionally, it's just hard to turn the ship around once that momentum's in place. So, but all of that transferred into, now I'm in real estate, with the exception of the assistant whose name is Gracie. I'm pretty much on my own. I don't have anybody to manage. And so it all translates,
Yeah.
every single thing, whether it's time management, whether it's CRM, whether it's follow up, because that's where a lot of realtors fall apart. And they think that we make all this money, but 70%, I want to say at least, of real estate agents didn't do a single deal last year.
Wow.
90% quit in their first year. The support's just not there. And frequently the brokers don't know how to offer it because we're in this weird middle ground where they're legally responsible for us, but we're not employees.
Mhm.
We are 1099 contractors. Sometimes we report to an office, but we're not, we don't receive any training from them. And each real estate agent is a small business in and of itself. I have an LLC. Like, I went whole hog into, I am a small business. This is my brand. But most new real estate agents have no idea, especially starting out, you're 19 or 20 or whatever. You see the money. And you also don't realize the reputation that you're up against.
Mhm.
So, anyway, I'll
So
talk too much if you'll let me. Sorry.
oh, no, that's fine. That's why we're here. And I
Yeah.
I love it because you're throwing out a lot of interesting things to think about, specifically systems and advice for real estate agents. So I kinda wanna separate those 2 things and first ask you, um, your biggest piece of advice for someone of any age who's thinking, "Maybe real estate is for me." What do you wish you would have known when you first had that thought that you think could help somebody who wants to get
You,
started?
you need $3,000 in a savings account that is specifically for starting your real estate business. And it's a business. So maybe you'll get lucky and you'll have a broker who'll hold your hand. Or maybe I've enjoyed the brokerage that I'm at right now has this huge library of trainings, of education. There's a whole EXP university. And this is not a pitch for EXP, it's just true.
Mhm.
I'm very needy and I ask a lot of questions. And so having the broker that, well, he's not actually my broker, but he's an associate broker and he was my broker at first class. And he is always right there. And he has the exact same tone of voice with me every single time. And he's never impatient. And he may cuss me sometimes, but he never lets me see it. So, having that kind of support, but certainly the money to get you through, because not everybody has your success right out of the gate. And you still got to pay your bills. A lot of people try to work a full-time job and become a real estate agent, and it absolutely can be done, but not
Yeah.
without a plan. You're not
Yeah,
just going to get your license and suddenly be a billionaire.
and to be fair, I was not working a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
I had left my job with Apple when I previously worked for Apple. And, that's a whole story of itself. But
I
when I
bet.
left, I was like, I want to own a business. And I started all sorts of little businesses that failed.
Mhm.
And because I wasn't willing to risk as much as I needed to risk for
Right.
whatever reason, I was still holding back. And then I was like, I'm gonna do real estate. And it was my only thing. That was
Mhm.
the only
Mhm.
priority I had. And some might call it a failure in itself because I didn't stick with it. But I feel like I learned so much about being an entrepreneur. And I don't think real estate agents get that credit that they deserve,
Mhm.
that they are a business. Their individuality, that they are the business. They're not just a contractor.
Right, and that's a lot of them bring employee mentality. I
Yeah.
am the employee of this broker. No, you're not. They have 0 obligation to see you succeed. It is wild to me that any broker anywhere would let you go out in their name and, not know what you're doing, but it happens all the time. And then there's some, like I say, the one that I'm at now, they're super into their agents and lots of investment into their agents, but that's because that's how they choose to be.
Mhm.
That is not an obligation, and nobody is doing wrong because they're not like that. Some agents prefer a brokerage that's very hands off because they know what they're doing. They don't want interference. They just want to go do their job. Um, and I feel like I'm in a situation that's kind of a hybrid. I feel like I have a lot of freedom, but I also feel like when I need support, because that was the hardest thing with the flooring store. I'm not from this area. I didn't have a construction background. I certainly didn't have a flooring background. I didn't have colleagues. I was completely alone. I actually started a group I found a women in the flooring industry Facebook group, and I started a Monday morning, 7:30 Central Time, every single Monday. That was just our weekly kickoff. It was 30 minutes just to get everybody's head in the game because I was so lonely.
Mm.
That's another thing they don't tell you about entrepreneurship. So freaking lonely.
Hey gals, if you love what you're hearing and you want to get more involved, because trust me, I love Go Getter Gals. I'm obsessed with it. If you love this podcast as much as we do, all you have to do is go on our Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and we're under Go Getter Gals. We are going to have all of our episodes on the podcast link on our website at go-gettergals.com. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt for just a second. We look forward to continuing to help you grow. Without further ado, here's the Go Getter Gals podcast.
Most people do not want to they don't want to take the risk of giving you bad advice, so they won't even give you any. And you'll go to somebody like I used to go to my installers because they had 30 years in the industry. And I'd be like, what do I do? And they, oh my God, I don't know. And I would just have to choose. And sometimes it was good and sometimes it wasn't.
Do you think that they were doing that because they didn't want to give you bad advice or because they didn't want to give you any advice, good or bad?
I think that, because I've seen it in a lot of cases. And it's interesting that now that I'm 40 and there's people that are, half my age are actually adults. Wild. But now I get the same thing from that age group. Please tell me what to do. What am I supposed to do? And I'm faced with that same conflict because on the one hand, I remember that desperation. You're fresh out of the box. You have no context for making this decision. But at the same time, I have this pause that's like, but if I give them the wrong advice, then it's my fault when it doesn't go well.
Mm.
So,
I'm going to tell you, Michael, that hits really close because that's literally my job. As
yeah,
a strategist, people are coming to me not just for like help getting clarity on what they already know, but
right.
I also get those questions. And I will tell you, my go-to is I just give them everything. I'll say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
here's what I know. Here's an example of where it worked out. I can't tell you for sure that it'll work out for you, but you have all the facts. And I
And
feel like
that's,
that
yeah.
feels good because I am giving them something, but if they're listening, then they're realizing that this is not a guaranteed solution. This is, hey, you're asking me for a system for your business. In my experience, businesses similar to yours have been able to do this, this, and this. This is what I've helped them do. I think this could be successful, but everyone's
Mm-hmm.
different and it depends on how this. And I'll just tell them my entire stream of consciousness, because when people ask you a question, you are in the back of your head, you're weighing it. Should I tell them
Mm-hmm.
this? Just say all of that out
Exactly.
loud. Let them know that
Exactly.
you want to, but this is what you're hesitating on.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that
Well,
helps.
it helps sometimes. I've gotten to where, once again, being an entrepreneur, and particularly between a construction subcontracting and now in real estate, again, contracts, but legally binding large sums of money, I have gotten to where a verbal waiver of liability is not enough. It's not enough either. So the conversation I have in my own head is, there's a young woman, for instance, that has come to me for advice on a number of things, bless her heart. And in my head, I'm going, I'm willing to commit to the consequences of her blaming me when it doesn't go well. Just because I remember feeling so alone with these decisions. So here you go. And I do that first, lay out the facts. Here's, if it's, for instance, whether or not to go forward with the purchase of a house. Well, we're this far into the contract. If you cancel the contract, here's what's going to happen. Not just for you financially and legally, but also for emotionally for the other side. We think of them.
Yeah.
And then, here's the timeline you have to think about it or pray about it or ask your mom or whatever it needs. But then when it comes to the emotional stuff, one thing that I do see a lot, and I don't know if guys experience this, but I know that women frequently do. There's a voice in there that is screaming to be heard that we push down because we don't want to cause a problem. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. The sensation is, I don't know if I can trust that voice, but the reality is, I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to, I can figure out how to just live with this thing I don't want so that I don't cause a problem. And then 10 years later, it implodes. Yeah.
Well, okay. I know we just talked about all the reasons not to give advice to people, but my next question is if there's one system that you've implemented so far that has been life-changing for you in your business or personally, because you are the systems girl.
I am.
What system would you recommend above all others first?
The system of creating systems. I know that sounds insane. What I told you before, literally all day long, when I encounter friction, I have an internal system. Friction means I've got a client who's a little annoyed at me because I didn't follow up when I said I was going to. I need a system for that. Maybe it's just every single time I make a promise, I set an alarm on my phone. And that's my system. Because sometimes the system is just 2 steps. It's not always this huge thing, but it is done the same way every single time. So the system of creating systems, anytime I encounter friction, my first thought is, what needs to happen different next time so this never happens again?
Yeah.
There will never be a perfect system. You will never please everybody. However, in the business of real estate, maybe everybody listening or whoever's listening knows what CYA stands for. It's cover your butt. Yeah. And in the business of real estate, we are totally CYA.
Yeah.
And so the more things I can implement to make sure that nobody can say, you didn't tell me that, you gave me bad advice, I didn't know what I was signing, and so on and so forth. Anything I can put in place, that's where that app came in. That's why I created that portal, because the deeper that real estate agents get into business, the more they forget not knowing this stuff.
Right.
And what that translates to is we forget to tell people, hey, you're probably looking at $2,000 up front before you even close. between the inspections and appraisal and septic and earnest money. And that's shocking. And so that's where all that comes from. That app removed so much friction, and it saved me so much time having the same conversation over and over and over again, which I'm happy to do, but I can't always do it timely.
Right.
So anyway, the system of building systems. When you encounter friction, don't get mad at your client. That's insane. They came to you. They came to you to make this process, whatever it is, whether it's coaching or buying a coffee or buying a house, or to make this experience better. So they get irritated at you for something, don't get mad at them back. Obviously, everybody needs to be respectful, and we can't be cussing each other, and you can't please everybody. But usually, it's the same stuff with real estate agents. They didn't produce a clear plan up front. They didn't keep their word. That's a big one. We make a lot of promises without any really understanding of how we're going to make them happen. We just say, like, we promised the moon. That's why we have such a bad reputation. It's not because we're bad people. And frequently it's because our hearts are in the right place.
Right.
We want this to be just the best experience you've ever had, but we don't think it through. That's the overthinking thing. I literally will like fantasize about every single step of the real estate process. I get a new client, I figure out what they want, and I see us at the closing table ready to go to their house that they love. What exactly needs to happen? That's called, they have a word for that in project management. It sounds really weird. It sounds like rotting, denaturing the plan or something like that. It's where you have
I
where
call
you're
it
at.
reverse engineering.
It's kind of that, but it's actually a term. I will think of it in a minute after we start talking about something else. Okay. But basically you figure out your destination and then you back out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do that with my clients. That's like a major thing that I do with them. I just call it reverse engineering. And reverse engineering, tell me exactly where you want to be, that ideal life, that ideal situation for your business. And now we're going to identify where we are now, how that lines up, and then we're just going to work our way back to where we are now. And so, no, that makes perfect sense.
But yeah, that's the
Okay.
system though. The system of knowing you need systems and being prepared every time you hit friction. Don't get mad. That is wild to me that we do that. That your client calls you angry and your response is to get defensive. Who's paying who? Like, it's not always justified, but I feel like a lot of time, if you're being honest, it's justified. And so instead of, you think, how do I never have this conversation again?
Right.
Anyway,
Well, and
so
I know people, that reaction it's human. You know, somebody comes at you and with negativity of any kind, criticism, constructive or otherwise, you know, your human reaction is to be defensive. But if you're able to like take a beat, like you said, and don't get upset, don't be combative, address the issue head on in the moment, and then when it's over, just be like, how can I avoid ever having to go through that again? And that's the beginning of creating a system for yourself.
And the way to overcome that moment, I've found, and listen, I'm not perfect. I have showed my butt. But what I find works for me anyway, you get that phone call, respond with, first of all, don't react. You're an adult. You're in control of yourself. You have a choice here. Yes, it is understandable when it happens because it's a human response. But at the same time, we have a prefrontal cortex. We make choices. And somebody comes at you like that, and I'm not talking about calling you up and cussing you and calling you bad names and stuff. That gets the red button. But they're upset at you. Curiosity will override that defensiveness just about every time. How can I fix this?
Yeah.
I hear you. How can I fix it? And you don't have to get on your belly and grovel to get there. You can meet them where they stand as a friend, and it's the two of you versus this issue.
Right. So then just because we're almost here at the end, I have 2 more questions for you. And the first one is, what is the next big thing that you are achieving? What's next
Yeah.
for you?
I guess I should have a pretty answer to that question. Let me think about it. I mean, I'm trying to keep doing what I'm doing and making it bigger and bigger and adding services and simultaneously adding services, but also niching down because all realtors start out wanting to be everything to everybody, and there's no good. Um,
I hear what you're saying. When you say adding services but niching down, my initial thought is like, oh, you're going to be looking to specialize in fixer-uppers. And that way, because you have experience, you had a flooring store, and you're
mhm,
able to give them good advice, and you're able, like that's an example. I'm not saying that's what you're going to
mhm,
do, but
mhm,
like
sure.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, niche down to one thing and increasingly serve those people better,
Yeah.
I
Are you
guess
still
is.
identifying your niche?
Um, kind of. One of the nice things that happens, they always say don't have shiny object syndrome. And again, I'm speaking specifically in real estate, but I think that this is true everywhere. Don't have shiny object syndrome. Don't try to be everything to everybody. But when you first start out, you have no choice. So just do it. Just go nuts. And eventually your niche finds you based on, um, kind of what you enjoy and kind of what you
What you attract?
notice, what you attract and what you notice that you're good at,
Yeah.
and you can lean into. So for me right now, relocation is a big one. People moving to Alabama from other states because that's a big thing right now.
And you have
Um,
experience doing it, so you have firsthand
I do.
experience moving into Alabama.
And I also am very, very sympathetic to the anxiety of buying something sight unseen and the anxiety of relocating to a place that you're not familiar with and you don't know anybody. And how's it going to go? And is this a huge mistake? So, one of the services that I offer, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I pretty much never say no. If you like today, for instance, right before we jumped on here, I'm driving an hour and a half back from Goshen, Alabama, which is right outside of Troy, because my out of state buyers wanted me to be there when the builder walked around. They didn't want to just be on the phone with him, they wanted me there too. Okay. Um, 3D tours, anything I can think of. That's the increasing the services to make it feel as close to I physically walked the house as possible. So,
Yeah.
video tours, obviously, FaceTime, 3D tours. I will get any subcontractor you think you might need, I will get him to your house to give you a quote or give his opinion on whether or not whatever. If you need a light bulb specialist, that's what we will find. Please don't ask me for that. I don't know if that's a thing. So those people, and then locally, uh, the sort of not fixer uppers necessarily, but the lower range, the lower price range. I'm getting really good at identifying which houses don't cost a lot of money, but we haven't sacrificed on the important stuff.
Mm,
And then I'm getting really good at negotiating with sellers on, we really want this house, but you have to do something about the mold. We will walk.
mm.
So, helping people because I think homeownership is denied a lot of people in certain economic situations, and that's wrong to me.
I love that. I can see it specializing in, like you said, relocation or budget buyers, and being able to be a strong voice and advocate for them to make housing more accessible to more people who probably would not be able to unless they had an advocate like you to help them locate and negotiate down to uh to help them get in. I think that's great.
Because there's
I
a
don't
tendency to want to settle,
Yeah.
not
Well,
ask for
and there's
much.
there's stress too. Like when you're buying, you're
Hmm.
like, well, other people want this house too, so I should just I should give in to the things that I want to make sure that I have a chance at getting the house. And that's just not good. That's not a good thing to do.
No. And that's one of the conversations we have early on. We never engage in like anxiety purchasing. Every home purchase is an emotional one, but not a negative emotion one. We don't panic buy. We are not to be pressured. If we cross that line and it starts feeling like that, then this isn't your house.
Right.
There will be another one.
Right. Okay.
So,
Last question.
okay. I'm
We
ready.
ask everybody this question. It
Oh,
marks
I
the
know it's
end of
coming.
the episode. So I want to know, what does legacy mean to you, and what legacy do you hope to leave behind?
What does legacy mean to me? I'm gonna Google it. What
It's a
is meaning of
business.
legacy? Okay. Inheritance, impact, outdated technology. That is it. That is what it means to me. No. Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I don't have any biological kids. There are kids in my life now who I cherish, but I don't know that they care what I leave behind. Oh God. It's not like a really big thing. It's a everyday thing. I need to be able to sleep at night. I need to feel like I served people honestly and I didn't I didn't have to lie or fake anything to get the job done. That feels like it's almost like there's a chord I'm always trying to resonate with, and I can feel it when it's not in harmony, and I can feel that. So it's an everyday thing, not really a big, I want to leave a pile of cash and become the president kind of thing.
I love that answer. I feel like that's the first of its kind answer, because we've had a lot. We've had people who are like, I want my legacy for family. I'm one of those people. That was my answer. Was like, I have children. I want to leave this type of legacy and generational wealth and blah blah blah. And then we've had people who their legacy is all about reputation. I hope that people remember me as this kind of person, not just my family, but everyone. I hope I made a difference in the world. And for you to say, legacy, it's not that big of a thing. It's an everyday thing. Every day I am showing up as the version of myself that I've identified as the best version of myself to show up. And as long as every day I'm in harmony with that definition, that's what makes me like, that's what I'm leaving.
Yeah. Pretty much the stuff that I chase is, if I get a review, it's nice to get a nice review, but it's also nice to get the feedback that you created in somebody who trusted you kind of blindly. You left them feeling like they were looked after. That's sort of the thing that I chase. And I used to be really um cavalier about income, but I've learned me and money have made peace, and I've learned that it's okay to want some income. And so Charlie's kids give me a really good reason to make a good living. I'd like to give them things. It's fun to give them things
Yeah.
and help with their lives. But still, that's still sort of I guess a short-term thing. I'd like to be able to just take care of the people that I care about and have a relatively good experience and do some cool stuff. And then, yeah, I don't really imagine that anybody will remember me after a couple generations anyway. So just enjoy it while I'm here and do the right thing by people. This is a very clumsy answer. I never know how to answer questions like that.
Yeah, it's a big, big question. But I think this is a good place to end it.
Hey, gals. Thank you for listening to the Go Getter Gal podcast. All of the information for this episode can be found in the show notes. Make sure that you go and like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube And to find the latest episodes of the Go Getter Gal podcast, you can visit our website at go-gettergals.com. See you next time.